Okay, so now I can go in more normal order, I guess. Explain the weird parts. So at the beginning, you do memory corrupt or save corruption. All you do there is basically just pause and go into a menu while it's trying to save the game. And if you time it right, you corrupt the game. And you need like just the right amount of corruption. Particularly, you need this to occur. All short swords. And I guess you also want to keep every spot in your inventory. Uh, Based on how we do the trick. So, this, I got that. So, how it works is, the coding. So if you notice there's 11 short swords. Actually, let me equip one of my... So Bastard is a short sword. So there are 11 short swords. So how the game does sorting is... it'll go, okay, what's the first thing to sort? Short swords. Then it looks through your inventory and goes, where are all the short swords? Bastard. Goes through, no more short swords. Puts it at the top. Then it goes, what's the second on the list? Short swords. And then it does it again. Bastard. Puts it at the top. So So there'll be 11 Bastards, which actually exactly fills the screen. And then what it does is, okay, so everything else is stuff you don't have, and it just puts them below the Bastards in order. So it'll be this spot, then this, then this, then this, then this. So all the order is preserved as it goes down. So, like, you notice here like 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll do the sort. So if you look, you'll see 7, 8, 9, 10. So the order is preserved. But if you notice, I said only blank spots. So all that stuff that was not a short sword, like the Alucard shield, it's gone from your inventory totally. So the reason why this is important is because of the swap feature. So I basically described that earlier, but so this spot right here will now be the Alucard shield. So I'm going to swap it here and put the Bastard here. Okay, so this is the Bastard, and this is the Alucard shield. So when I unequip the Alucard shield, so where is the relevance? So look at this, 12. Is that right? Yeah, the 12 and the 10. Okay, so I dropped the Alucard shield and it wants to put this at the very top, at the first blank spot. So it does a swap between where it currently is and the first blank spot. So I drop it and you'll notice there's a swap here. The 10 and the 12 swap. No, this is hex, but whatever. Okay, so the way the game does that is very simply, it scrolls through, finds the first blank spot, and then it finds the item that you're dropping or getting, and then it's going to swap that up to the blank spot. So the problem is this method does not, oh wait, let me get it more correct. I want less stuff. So when I create these Bastards, I have 11 of these. So what happened is I kicked some stuff and deleted it out of the inventory. So now there's some stuff that is missing. Actually, so what I'm gonna do is take the short sword, put it at the bottom and equip it like I do in the trick. So now this is the short sword at the very bottom. So when I do this sort, create these 11 Bastards, basically it's going to push down everything, and practically speaking, the bottom 11 items will get deleted. So in particular, I'm deleting the short sword from my inventory. So now, what happens when I drop the short sword? Well, it's going to do the swap overflow. So it's going to find the first blank spot, which is here, And then it wants to swap that with the short sword. So it's going to go through, where's the short sword? And it can't find it. And the thing is, the game does not do any boundary checks. So it just keeps going through all of your inventory. So let's, let me show RAM here. Okay, so here's an better view of the inventory. With a little bit of a weird thing happening. Ignore that. So this is all your inventory. So it's gonna go through where is the short sword? And the short sword is the 1-3 right here. But this is not my inventory. My inventory ended, or my weapon inventory. My weapon inventory ended right here. And this is armors. So it takes the first blank spot and puts it into the armors. So so I'll move something up. So this should be a high value, I think, and make this my first blank spot. So now when I drop this short sword, hopefully it doesn't crash. What it did was it swapped the value, the blank value here, with where the short sword was. So, oh yeah, I had it highlighted right here. So if your Nipper had a 1-3 here, that was the short sword. Now you see there's an A1 here. But so there are way more weapons than there are armors. So when don't crash. Okay, good. So what happens when it's like just reading something you don't have? Well, this is what happens. You get some weird icon, often some weird text, and yeah. This is a glitch armor, as I usually call it. So basically this is whatever was in that blank spot, A1, which is I think some type of potion. And if you notice, it has 64 as the quantity. So unfortunately I don't know where this is. Where would this be? Okay, 64 is what? In hex, it's what? 4D? Okay, so this inventory spot that I have highlighted should actually correspond to the quantity for that armor. So I'm gonna swap this. So short sword is 19. So let me make sure I got it. Okay, I got it. Okay, so I'll explain this. Okay, so here are the quantities at the top. So basically it goes quantities, and then what's in your inventory. So then it starts weapons, then armor. So same for quantities. Weapon quantity, armor quantity. Weapon locations, armor locations. So what happens when you have an armor like 161, I think is what this is. Well, there is no armor 161, but it still looks in this table. So it goes, okay, let's say it starts here. Okay, I just add 161 to here. What do I get? Well, you go out of the quantities and into the items that you're holding. So it, where is it? Right here. Okay, so it's looking at this spot, as it turns out, this particular one. So it thinks this is the quantity of this item, but this is actually this short sword right here. So if I swap this, for example, you see the quantity changes. And another thing you can do is actually equip this, and you'll see this turned to a Bastillard from the short sword. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this is not changing the quantity of the short sword. So I still have the short sword. I can actually just get it back by unequipping it. But it is changing the value in the inventory. yeah, that's how the table works. It goes quantity for weapon 1, quantity for weapon 2, quantity, etc. Quantity for the armors. Then uh, what weapon is in slot 1, weapon in slot 2, weapon in slot 3. So yeah, so as soon as you have a glitch armor, you basically have almost total control over your inventory. Except for the slight fact that you don't actually get, yeah, so Bastard is item value 18 and Short Sword is 19. Okay, so I can like do stuff and basically get all these item values. So what if I actually, and keep in mind this is only locations in inventory. So even if I change this to 20, I would not get item 20. It would just be in the inventory. It would be 20. So to actually create stuff, you do a similar trick though. Oh damn. Do I have money? I can do one. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is equip this uncurse. Okay, so let us say I want to generate an item. Okay, so I mentioned that I can't just get item 20, so a way to turn this into 20 would be to switch this, then I equip this, switch it back, and then unequip. I'll do it this way. So now this is 20, so this spot right here is 20, but I don't have any 20s. But let's say I actually do want a 20. So what I can do is put this up here as the first blank spot. Okay, and I have an uncurse equipped. Now uncurse is a high value, there's no armor corresponding to it. So I'm gonna go and let's see, where is it? Yeah, this is the, so this is like, I think, sub-weapon, left-handed weapon, or, no wait, no, it must be, oh wait, right hand, left hand, this should be, what would this be? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Important thing is, this is the uncurse. So this is right below, these are the armors, so this is a little bit below that. So what happens when I buy an uncurse? So it's going to do that swap thing. So I just put 20, which is 1-4 in hex, at the top of my inventory. So that's the first blank spot. Actually, just for convenience, I'm going to put it here. Doesn't really matter where it is. Okay, so that's my first blank spot. So when I buy an uncurse, it wants to swap the uncurse to this 14. So it's going to look through, where's the uncurse? Oh wait, there is going to be an uncurse. Fuck. Okay, so I need to get rid of the uncurse, which happens to be here. Okay, so this is the funny thing. Okay, so I forgot, I do have an uncurse in my inventory, but when I equip this, it'll change it to 9-0. So now I don't have an uncurse in my inventory anymore. Okay. So yeah, so it's gonna look through, can't find the uncurse, can't find the uncurse, and then it eventually gets down to what I'm holding, 91. And it's gonna replace that with what the blank spot was. So in other words, I'm gonna get 20 in my hand. So let me just show that. Boom. Magically get a combat knife. So since I have basically total control over all these values, I can choose whatever item I want and put it in my hand. The only thing I'd have to do is like equip the uncurse, I swap it here, and then one thing I have to do is destroy the uncurse. The same way I destroyed it before by using the glitch armor, I can just destroy the uncurse. Okay, so yeah, that's how you create stuff. So then the final thing, and the thing that's vital for this trick is, So you have all this inventory stuff, like stuff you're wearing, how much your strength is, etc. Then down here you actually get this pointer. This pointer is used by the music, so like, I'll just do something dumb. So you see right when I changed this, the music messed up. So this is the music pointer. So in the same way I did that other stuff, swapping here. So swap with armor, swap with hand. Well, this is just a little bit below where that stuff is. Swap with the music pointer. And by doing this, I set this pointer basically to whatever I want. So let me like do the first part of the trick. So the point of this whole beginning thing is, just like how I swapped like 20 up, I'm swapping very particular values up to the top that'll turn out to be stuff I want to basically put into this pointer. So 8. If you want to see where they are, I have a tutorial. So I swap the short sword with like that one spot that puts the blank that was there up at the top. Now I put the short sword at the bottom. This is just so it's destroyed later. And then, oh, whoops. And then I also do one swap going up. So, and I'm equipping these so I can use them later, because as soon as I do the sorting glitch, they'll get destroyed. So I carefully chose these 4 values to be at the top. So now what I'm going to do is start the glitch. So yeah, now the bastard's glitch. So I guess I'll explain. So the blink values still have the same order. So this one, this one, this one, this one. So as I showed you how to create weapons, basically you have anti-venom. Anti-venom is gone from the inventory when I did the sort. So when I buy an anti-venom, it'll give me the item that is right here. And this is a very carefully chosen item. The bastard sword. Now, the bastard sword has value 60. And the reason I want that is, so by doing that I remove 60 from my inventory. So now when I drop 60, it's going to look for the bastard sword. And when you drop it out of your hand, this turns to 0. So it's going to go through and it's going to look for the first 60. The first one it finds is right here, part of the music pointer. So, and then 90 is the value for anti-venom. So I swap the anti-venom into the pointer. So this is like anti-venom right here. So I put the anti-venom into the pointer. But now I have anti-venom equipped, so now I can create another weapon using the second blank spot, again carefully chosen. Now I have a moonrod. Moonrod value 84. So when I unequip this, it's going to look for 84 and swap the first blank spot it sees right there. Now what I'm going to do is swap it with bastard sword. So this will equip bastard sword and drop the moonrod at the same time. So since bastard sword is being equipped, I'll have 0 at that exact time. So it's actually going to swap the moonrod and the bastard sword like into this spot. So bastard sword is value 60. So it swapped 60 here. Boom. So now there's only one step left, so I changed 2 out of 3. Pointers always have this as 80. So now I only have to change this 13. This is the short sword. Now unfortunately the short sword is a bit more complicated than the others, mainly because there actually is an armor that has value 13. So even though I removed short sword from the weapons, it's still there in the armor. So what I do is drop it and equip it. So this did that swap like before. where it creates a glitch armor. And this was the blank spot that I put here in advance. And that value was chosen so that this glitch armor actually is pointing to the value at this location where the short sword was and is technically. So when I equip this, it's at 19 now, it's hard to tell. Now it's at 18. So it turned this spot into the Bastillard. So in effect what I've done is remove the short sword from the armors and from the weapons now. And now there's no more short swords until the pointer. So now I'm good to go to change the pointer. So now I get the value that the pointer should be. This is weirdly off. Which is this value. This is 15. And then I move it to this slot. So when I drop this short sword, if I chose correctly, it'll change this pointer to 8 OF6090. So what is at that location? The answer is code. I'm gonna make the music point at code. Now the music, the way it works is kind of complicated, but there's like one key byte that I use to basically evaluate what the music will do. And it's basically like at 90 plus this, which will be what? 20, I guess? Here? Yeah, okay. So what'll happen is it'll look at this byte, and this ends in a 3. So there's basically a few things that happen. If it ends in a 2, there's like one byte it'll set to 0. If it ends in a 8, it'll set this one byte to 1. And if it ends in something that's like 1, so think about it in bits. If it has like a 1 bit, so there's like 1, 2, 4, and 8 bits. If the 1 bit is set, then what it'll do is it'll start some timers that'll tick down. And if the 4th bit is set, then it actually like totally wipes the code. And so if you totally wipe the code, you're gonna crash, obviously. But this is a 3, so that means it'll start some timers. And one timer will be here, and the other timer, where was it? Here. Okay, so just watch these values change. Okay, apparently there was another. So the problem is there's sometimes 13s elsewhere. Oh, it was probably here. So yeah, this is the annoying part of the trick, but you see the time? You notice it used to have a 15 in the second slot. So what was probably happened was I was exactly at 21:19 seconds. So I expected that the first 13 it would find would be here. But instead the first 13 it found was at the clock. So yeah, this is 21 in hex, and this is 16 in hex. So this was probably the short sword. So it got blocked by the timer. So that kind of sucks, but it happens. Incidentally, there's also this other one. This is like the frame timer. There's no way to look at this. So there's always a slight chance, I guess it'd be 1 out of 60 chance, that this just fails because this blocks the trick. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. But okay, so it didn't happen. I'll just do it manually though. I got clock blocked. That's actually amazingly good. Wow, clock blocked. Yeah, that can happen. But okay, so that's one way this trick can fail. But I just did it manually anyway. You saw it work. So this is changing, and this is changing, if you notice. So it takes a while, 23 seconds. It goes through a lot of invalid stuff. And then you see here, jumped register 22, 20, 18, whatever. You can actually hit, this only shows every 1 second, but you actually can jump to any of your registers when you wait for the right half second, basically. So it turns out this function, which corresponds to stuff that happens, what will happen? Yeah, it's a lot of legal stuff. Yeah, I didn't like that, but um, it corresponds to this thing. It's must be render related because you saw when it glitched out, stuff was messed up. Okay, so basically I'm changing this code and I'm gonna make a jump to register 20. I need my timer out actually if I'm gonna do that. So in register 20 will actually happen to hold basically whatever I'm highlighting. It'll hold this slot, this location. Okay, so um, the relics happen to be, oops, too far, way too far. Okay, so here's the inventory, and then you have quantities, and then this is like a relic. So this is a relic that is on 03, that's what that means. Yeah, I got a world record. It was 13 minutes, 37 seconds. Badly timed and also bad run. Okay, so here's the relic. So if you notice, when I jump to the relic area, it's just going to go through all these quantities, and then it's going to start hitting my inventory. So if I choose these values carefully, then I actually can cause the game to write whatever code, or to run whatever code I want. And then that is where magic happens. So let's see. Okay, I'll do the whole trick, except for the actual running of the code. So you can see what exactly I'm writing through the somewhat long process. So yeah, all this stuff is very...
I'm interested in this.
instruction. So okay, so I finished coding right there. So let's go to my code, also known as my inventory. Okay, so inventory starts here. Um, so I have two Bastlards that I just leave here, and it causes this branch instruction that never runs. So just ignore that. Okay, so here's the first actual instruction. So R20 Oh, did I set that to the right location? So remember, R20 is the spot that I'm highlighting in the relics area. So what I do is add a value here, and then 2 instructions later, I'm going to store byte register 25 into an offset from this. So you may notice that these are large values that counteract each other. The reason you have to do it this way is because items can get no larger than 168, and that means that it's actually really hard to access um, like memory locations that are like immediately before where you are. And what I have to do, so here's memory, blah blah blah. Here's the um, here's relics, and what spot is it? This byte right here. This byte is actually telling the game what is the ending I should get. And this is actually saved even if you reset the game, or reset the console, soft reset. So that's why it's 5 even though I haven't gotten to an ending, because the last thing I did was watch ending 5, which is the standard game ending that you normally get in standard any percent. Okay, so what this does is these two to combine, and I carefully chose the location that I was highlighting in my relic so that the combination of those 2 instructions, this one and this one, reference this byte, and I'm storing 25 in there, and it just happens that 25 is 3, and ending 3 is actually like the best ending. It's the one where you have all uh, the high map completion ending, basically. So basically I'm saying, okay, play ending 3. And the reason this is required is due to the technicality that you're not allowed to use leftover memory from previous playthroughs. Okay, so that's one part of the code. And then the second part is this. Load register 4 with this. R1, I don't even remember, but basically, this actually took a while, but I just found a location that had a 9 in it. That's basically all I was looking for, and just loaded a 9 into register 4. And then I jump here, and this is actually a function, the purpose of which is basically to load, I guess you can say a cutscene, might as well say it in that way. This function is actually called when you die, and it's called with parameter 4, I think. So basically like R4 is the parameter, register 4. So if I call this with 4, it would basically play like the dying cutscene. But when I call it with 9, it basically plays you win the game cutscene, sort of. But um, it has to decide what ending to play. So actually, if I didn't store the 3 that says what ending I got, um, and I didn't previously play the game on the before, um, like basically, and I'm starting just from a fresh turned on console, then it would actually play the reverse castle cutscene, which is technically not the end of a game. It's only beating Richter, or beating the weird sphere thing. Anyway, so it just basically sets up some values that say, hey, play a cutscene 9, type 9. Okay, and then there's another critical part that's sort of subtle. This might be too technical for most people, but how functions work in assembly is normally what you do is a jump and link instruction. Here's an example, jump and link here. And what this does is it jumps here and it stores in register 31 where it should return to when the function is done. So if you notice in my code, I did not do a jump and link. So register 31 remained unchanged after it runs my code. So normally you would call this with the jump and link. It would go here, And jump to register 31 is basically return to where you came from. So my code doesn't have a jumping link, it just has a jump. And all this stuff below is trash, so I don't want to return here. So what is in register 31? Well, this is actually sort of a complicated thing, but register 31 is preserved between function calls. So actually, so if you notice, this is a long function. There's quite a few. So here's like a function call, jump and link. Here's a function call, jump and link. Here's another one, jump and link. So what it'll actually do is return to whichever of these function calls was last called. So it turns out because I am not highlighting an item that I have, the last of these functions will be this one, the one at the bottom, which is what I want, because I don't want to get into an infinite loop. Because if I returned to something before here, this is calling my code. So if I return to like here, then I'd get into an infinite loop. I'd return here, call my code. Where is it? Call my code, then call the loading cutscene function, return here again, call my code again, etc. Infinite loop. So, yeah, a little complicated, but this one, as long as I don't highlight a relic that I have, it'll always be this function that it's returning to. So yeah, it's complicated stuff. Let's see, have I explained everything pretty much? So jump in, oh okay. So actually this is jump and link to register. So for some reason, jump and link to register has a special thing where it doesn't always store it in register 31. So this is actually in register 27, it's storing where you should return to instead of register 31. It's like a weird special feature, and thankfully it does this. Otherwise it'd be much more complicated to actually return to normal execution, which is of course something you need to actually not crash or not infinite loop or whatever you want to do. So wow, yeah, it's very complicated how this works.